What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel. It is a transfer update on this Monday night. Some big news this morning regarding Nicholas Kühn, which we're going to come back to in a second. It's a bit of an impromptu transfer update for you. I wasn't planning on bringing you a video tonight, but there's been enough news. First of all, I have to start with condolences to the family of John Clark. Really sad news this morning that the Lisbon Lion had passed away. It's always difficult to hear news like that coming out, and we always think about the footballer, what he gave to Celtic, but more importantly, thoughts are with his family at this difficult time because they've lost a dad, a granddad, and that is what is most important in this situation. His legacy, his Celtic legacy, like all of his Lisbon Lion teammates, will live on forever. What an amazing story, an amazing association he had with the club over 50 years. Really sad news today about John Clark. So we'll move on to that transfer news then. In this morning, German outlet Kicker reported that Celtic and RB Leipzig are at an advanced stage in negotiations for Nicholas Kühn. The winger is linked with a £15 million move back to the German club where he was as a youth player. We talked about this last week, and I felt it was closely linked to Celtic's move for Benjamin Nygren. And again, since I last spoke to you, that has moved on as well. Fabrizio Romano has ruined it all for us. There'll be no shock and no surprise when he's unveiled as a Celtic player, because he's reported that we've agreed a £1.8 million deal for the Swedish wide player, 23 years of age. He's expected to sign a contract until June 2029. Like I say, I had the gut feeling that it might be Nygren in and Kühn out. I know a lot of you think that Nygren can play and will play centrally. We'll just have to wait and see, but it looks like he is on the way to Celtic. That seems like a bargain for us, as I say. I said in the last video, really good goal scoring numbers, looks a tidy technical player. All things go to plan, it will be a snip at that price for us. And if he is replacing Kühn, he does have big shoes to fill. But I think people will be split on this because Kühn, the way he started last season, it looked like he was going to run away with the Player of the Year awards by the end of the campaign, but he really tailed off after Christmas. But if you look at the numbers that he put up last season, they are still impressive despite that quieter period towards the end of the campaign. So he played 51 times last season in all competitions, scored 21 goals, and had 15 assists in there as well. So that's a goal or an assist per 90 minutes of 0.98. So he's almost offering you a goal or an assist for every 90 minutes that he completed last season. He did come off a lot, being a wide player. That seems to be the sort of standard position that Brendan Rodgers likes to switch later in the second half, but he was always involved, and I think he was like a player rejuvenated at the start of the season, straight from pre-season. In those games against Man City and Chelsea, you could see that he looked like a totally different animal from the one that had arrived the previous January. And we found out all the information about the dental issue that he had and why that was causing him some problems on the pitch after he arrived at the club, because he was lacking a bit of stamina, a bit of physicality, a bit of power. And he did look like a totally different animal at the start of last season. 21 goals and 15 assists across the campaign is brilliant. But like I say, it did tail off. So let me know in the comments if you think, if this deal goes through, 15 million quid to Leipzig, is that a good deal for us? Is that a good price? Are you happy to let Kühn move on for that sort of money? Or would you rather keep him if that is a deal and that's the offer that's on the table? I think recency bias may suggest, because of how he ended the season, that it is a good opportunity to move him on. It's a good profit. I think we brought him in for 3.5 million quid, so you're talking nearly 5 times the investment in him. And while it's not 20-25 million like we've seen the club recoup before for some of the bigger players in recent years, I think that does represent good business. It represents good value for the club. It does all rest on replacing him, like it always does with recruitment. And like I say, if Nygren is the player that does replace him, then let's hope he can step up and fill his boots. I understand it's not done yet, so apologies if I'm talking as if it's already done. He's in Germany wearing a Leipzig kit, but it does look like there's some movement in it. The talk is that RB Leipzig still have to appoint a new head coach, so the move might be delayed until that is done. But there's definitely legs in this, it appears. Newcastle have also been linked with him since the turn of the year there, so there's definitely interest in Nicholas Kühn, and it looks like his Celtic career may well come to an end this summer. Moving on, in other news, the pursuit of a striker continues. We've been linked with 25-year-old Kawasaki Frontale striker Shin Yamada. So again, £1.5 million rated. I would suggest that some people will look at that fee and think, are we trying to do things on the cheap? Again, I think Kawasaki Frontale is the club that Rio Hatate came from, and we've obviously had great success with the likes of Hatate, Maeda and Kyogo. We have had some misses from Japan though. Ideguchi, Kobayashi. There has been some that haven't quite hit the spot. Tomoki Iwata as well. I didn't really manage to get a long run in the team, and he moved on to Birmingham last year. So it's not been 100% success from the J League. And again, I think while people will look at that and say, are we trying to do things on the cheap? Is he really going to be the player that can come in and be Celtic's first choice striker? Again, coming from Japan, there'll be a lot of adaptation for him to do on and off the pitch, to the lifestyle, to the culture, and in Scotland, both in a living sense, but also in a football sense. So, listen, we'll see how that one progresses. Apparently, there's numerous overseas clubs looking at Yamada, so I don't want to go into too much more detail on it just now, because, like I say, the more digging you do on all of these names, you spend all summer talking about things that actually never happen. So there is clearly links to strikers, which is a good thing, because we definitely need to reinforce that area of the pitch. But let me know in the comments of what you think about Yamada. If you watched any videos of him, do you think he could be the player to come in and bolster that area of the pitch? In other transfer news, it looks like PSV Eindhoven have entered the race for Sondre Ørjasæter. He was the 21-year-old winger we were linked with from Sarpsborg in Norway in January. His price is now reported to be 11 million instead of 7. That sounds like a similar situation to Matthias Kvitsgarden. Again, the price was 7-8 million when we were first linked with him. Then it was 11 or 12, and it looks like we've missed out on him. So could that be the case with Ørjasæter as well? Leo are also said to be interested in him. So there's obviously great interest from some big European clubs in there. Again, will they outbid Celtic? It looks like, in all likelihood, that is how that one will play out. Still linked with Balikwisha from Antwerp as well. So there's clearly work being done in the wide areas, regardless of the Nygren deal, or on top of the Nygren deal, and of course with the speculation surrounding Nicholas Kühn. So there is a lot of work being done in the forward areas, which I think is really important for us this summer. I would like to see maybe some movement at centre half. It looks like we will lose 3 centre halves. Mike Nawrocki, Gustav Lagerbielke and Stephen Welsh are all players who are said to be heading for the exit this summer. We talked about that in the video we did going through the defence last week. So I think we've got work to do in that position again. The jury's out on Scales and Trusty, and neither of them have been able to convince us that they're near enough the level of Carter Vickers to nail down that other centre half spot. So, like I said last week, there's a lot of work for the club to do in that defensive area. There's a left back to bring in as well, which seems to be relatively quiet in terms of links and in terms of new players being reported to have Celtic's interest. So that's another one we've got to get done over the course of the summer. But I think the big news today is Nicholas Kühn and those negotiations with Leipzig for his potential return there. We'll wait and see when and if, or if and when. I suppose it is a matter of when, because they can't go without one. When Leipzig appoint a new head coach. I know that a club like Leipzig runs in a very specific way in terms of the recruitment. So while it would be unusual to sign a player without a head coach, I think a club like Leipzig can do that, given the setup that they've got. So we'll keep tabs on that. And that is it for this quick impromptu transfer update. Let us know your thoughts on the potential exit of Nicholas Kühn, the pending arrival of Benjamin Nygren as well. And again, like I say, let us know if you think Yamada from Kawasaki Frontale could be the man to improve Celtic's strike force this summer. I'll be back with you very soon. We're going to look at the squad and the front players in more detail, and hopefully with some more concrete transfer news through the week as well. Thank you.